Hello. Welcome again to the BATTASS Podcast, the Batman the Animated Series show podcast, where we talk about Batman the Animated Series, or in this case, Batman Beyond. My name is Clay McCormack, and with me, as always, is Sean Murphy. How you doing, Sean?
Good, man. Getting ready to go to San Diego to sort of announce and promote Zorro, do some signings and stuff with massive publishing and whatnot.
Oh, excellent.
So, yeah, it's fun. I mean, I haven't really got to talk about Zorro too much since I've just been working on it. And we launched we don't have the Kickstarter launched yet, but we have a landing page. Mm-hmm. So we've already got a bunch of followers, people watching the page, which is a brilliant idea. And I don't know why I didn't do it last time. I did Kickstarters before.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm really excited about that.
Excellent. And that's it launches in October, is that right?
Yeah, I'm shooting for October or November. There's a Day of the Dead theme for it, so like a Mexican Halloween theme.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I'd like to either end it on Halloween or begin it on Halloween. I got a bunch of variant covers from friends, like a lot of orange and Halloween type covers. So I'm kind of trying to make it a holiday book.
Yeah.
So we get that holiday spike every year.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm pumped. And I'd like to do a tour in Mexico after to promote it. And I love Mexico. I love going down there. And I speak a tiny, tiny bit of Spanish. But yeah, it should be good.
Excellent. Yeah, that should be a good time. And you're doing, are you going to have timed signings and stuff? Or is it going to be, you just kind of be hanging around? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I posted on my social media just the 3 signings. I got a Whatnot auction thing I'm doing too. Sort of just going and putting myself in the hands of Massive. Sure. And telling them, like, listen, just tell me what you want me to do. Tell me where to stand. Tell me where to sign. Tell me what to say, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
That sounds like it should be a good time.
And you're not doing San Diego this year?
No, I won't be in San Diego. I'm not doing either of the big ones this year.
Yeah. No New York too?
No, I didn't get in.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, that's
do you know what happened?
I have no idea. It's a return to normal. I'm 1 for 15 when it comes to applying for an Artist Alley table at New York Comic Con. So, But anyway, we're here to talk about 2 episodes of Batman the Animated Series, Plague and April Moon. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with Plague.
Enough. Much as I would relish hunting you, this time I seek a different prey.
Yeah, right.
He's telling the truth.
Bennett.
He's working for us now, Batman. Tracking a man named Falseface.
All right, Plague, written by Rich Fogel, directed by Butch Lukic. And do you want to tell us what this one is about? Because this is the one you watched instead of the last episode we were supposed to do.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I was prepared to skip through this really quickly, and I'm like, I don't remember this scene. I don't remember this scene either. I think I might have fallen asleep when I watched it before, so I'm letting you double letting you down, Clay.
Well, in this one, Batman reluctantly joins forces with his former enemy, the Stalker, to hunt down a wily criminal named Falseface, who has stolen a dangerous virus for a criminal organization called Kobra.
Have we seen Kobra before?
No, this is the introduction of Kobra to the DC animated universe. There's a lot going on here in this episode, and it's all I feel like it's all just kind of covering up for the fact that this is kind of a boring episode.
Yeah, that might be fair.
Like Kobra's only in it for like 30 seconds at the beginning, and they don't really play much part into it. The Stalker stuff, I thought the Stalker stuff was the most interesting, or had the potential to be the most interesting, that Batman has to team up with this guy, but they don't really get into that at all.
Yeah, I was bummed too.
Yeah, and I love Falseface. Falseface is a villain I know from the 60s Batman show. He's probably my favorite villain from that show. He's only in 2 episodes. But he's just got such a weird kind of gimmick in that show that he's a lot of fun. And in this version of Falseface, he's kind of like low rent Clayface kind of.
Yeah.
And
very much so.
And he doesn't even change his face into like unique looking people. It's just like different versions of the same brunette white guy.
He looked a lot like the guy that was trying to help Batman.
Yes, he did. Yes. But yeah, it's just like it's just kind of a chase episode where there's a virus and they got to stop the virus, and it's I don't know, it wasn't really doing anything for me. What did you think?
Yeah, I agree. I was looking forward to seeing the unlikely pairing of the Hunter and Batman, but I don't know. Even the end where he's like, "You won't die. I wouldn't let you die because I'll only let you die by my hand," or something. It's like, all right, And I guess Terry's reaction is pretty fair. He's like, okay, I guess, thank you. I'm trying to think if this guy ever comes back. I guess he's sort of set up to be Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah, he feels a lot like Kraven the Hunter, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love his outfit. I like his character design, and voice acting are cool. I just think there's something missing from this guy.
Yeah, they just don't. There's no interaction that makes any of this interesting. They're. No. I was thinking about it as I was watching it, and like Terry, the only kind of mentor figure Terry has ever had in this vigilante life is Batman, and so I think there could have been a lot of interesting stuff they could have done if Stalker was kind of giving Terry a different viewpoint on this stuff.
Yeah.
But they don't do anything with it. It's just he's just there for the. I'm not even sure why Stalker's there, frankly. Like, I don't really know what purpose he's serving other than just something else in the episode.
Yeah, I wanted more Kobra stuff because I felt like they didn't give me a whole lot. If this is the first introduction of them to the universe.
Yeah.
I don't know, like these snake guys, I couldn't get G.I. Joe out of my head. I don't know if I like these guys or not.
Yeah, I don't know much about Kobra, the DC version of Kobra, but it's very strange. It's they're a cult based around a Cobra god, and the character who is known as Kobra is a guy named Jeffrey Burr, and he was born as the comic version anyway. He was born as a set of conjoined twins, but was stolen at birth by the cult of the Cobra god, since a prophecy claimed he would lead them to rule the world. And under their teaching, he became a dangerous warrior and a sadistic criminal mastermind. And he led the cult into using advanced technology to menace the world. I don't know. It seems pretty bland. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a weird. The costume's weird. It's like cobra skin with a toga on top of it. I don't know. It's a strange. It's just a weird thing to just drop in and not really address.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I want to know if this note came from somebody who insisted that Kobra had to be in Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like a natural fit for Batman Blade Runner,
Yeah, he's not. There's nothing high tech about him, and that's not talked about at all. Like there could be like it makes more sense that Stalker would be hunting Kobra, given the animal nature of Kobra.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Actually.
Yeah, versus Falseface, who's just a guy with a rubbery face.
Is Falseface the one that he wore like a plastic mask of a human over his normal face, and he gave this creepy look to it?
Yes, yeah. In Batman 66, he wears like one of those creepy plastic face masks. He's pretty great. He's kind of like a low rent version of the Riddler on that show, because all these characters that weren't like main level characters like Riddler, Joker, Penguin, they're all kind of just different versions of those characters. And so Falseface has kind of a B-level Riddler vibe to him, but he's a lot of fun, and they do a lot of really fun gags with the fake face and stuff.
Yeah.
But he doesn't show up in the comic. He's only been in the comics like once or twice. I guess it's tough when you've got someone like Clayface out there who kind of does this stuff a little bit better.
Right.
And even here, like there's it would have been cooler if Falseface was like a robot or something, and he actually had like a robot, like he actually had a false face or something like that, something to make him more in line with the Batman Beyond of it all. I don't know.
Yeah. At the end, when his face was all fucked up, how did that happen exactly?
No idea. I guess, like, again, it feels kind of like Clayface, like he has to focus to keep his face in order or something. But they don't tell you anything about him, so you don't know if he's got some sort of weird disease or if he fell into radioactive face chemicals or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. They gave us Falseface, they gave us Kobra, and they gave us the return of the Hunter guy, and they didn't really do well at any three of those things. You know?
Yeah. It's just it's all in surface of a pretty generic chase plot, which it's just it's. I think these two episodes are kind of interesting because the next one I think has a little bit more meat on it. There's lots of things I want to talk about the next one. But this one's kind of middle of the road. I guess the one character who we have seen before, which is ironic because I did not remember him at all, is Bennett, the guy who recruits Stalker and tells Batman about it. I guess he's from the Zeta Project, which in the Zeta being the robot one that I told you about last episode because you didn't watch it.
Okay, so this is got it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess he comes back again when the Zeta robot comes back later before they spin him off.
That makes more sense. Why this guy, this organization is introduced like this? If he's set up to be more important in a different series, that makes a lot more sense actually.
Yeah, I don't think they do a good job of explaining that here, but it kind of makes a little more sense if he's some sort of like Nick Fury or Amanda Waller type character, you know?
Yeah, totally. So you thinking like an average grade on this one?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I'm trying to think of why I should give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
I don't know. This might be a 2.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way because like it's not bad. Oh, well, you know what might kick it into a 3 for me is I don't know if this is the first appearance of this, but it's the first time I really noticed it. We get some fire-lit Batman at the end of this episode. With all those explosions going off, and it's pretty good-looking fire-lit Batman too. It's not the cheap version. They've actually like changed his color scheme a bit to reflect the fire and stuff.
They did do like a smoky overlay too, like After Effects type thing.
Yeah.
Don't know if I like that or not. I mean, they never would have done that in the animated series. They would have animated the actual smoke.
Right.
But it looked okay, all things considered. Like I'll give you he definitely looked good with the coloring on him.
Yeah,
but that smoky overlay, I don't know if that felt natural.
Firelit Batman's a great look. I mean, most of the did you see that poster Sienkiewicz did for the Batman movie? That whole poster is like firelit Batman poster, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah. I sent you. There's a new Superman figure that I thought it was going to be firelit Superman.
Yeah,
but
the one
it's hard to describe.
The one where it looks like they just dropped him into red paint.
Yeah, if you have there's a cover. I think it's a Eduardo Rizzo cover, or someone who drew a pretty stylized Superman, and they had him lit red. So parts of his face have red patches on it, and shoulders, and his knuckles, and his back, and it looks good in a designy 2-dimensional way.
Yeah.
But then they tried to make a figure out of it, and they matched exactly. It just looks like you dropped your Superman figure in red paint.
Yeah, they did the same thing with the McFarlane Batman, the Batman figure.
Yeah, I don't know who's buying those, man.
Yeah,
I don't
it looks
get it.
terrible. It just looks really bad, and I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know who. They did something similar. They've got a San Diego Comic-Con variant of 90s Batman that they put, this 90s Batman figure they put out, which is just like the classic gray and blue. And they did this coloring on him as like shadows, but it's like just on the front of his cowl and on his trunks. And it's not like 50s Batman where it's a very clear like half circle around the front of his face. It's got like some jagged, it's supposed to look more like lighting, and it just doesn't work. Like I've seen some of these figures that do this cell shading type coloring on them that look pretty good. Like when they do it on the animated figures, it tends to look okay, but these ones it's just not playing, and I don't. They got to stop doing them.
I had a friend of ours reach out. He is working on some DC stuff, and they're turning his drawing into a figure.
Oh, cool.
And I think it's a McFarlane figure. And he got a bunch of comps, and he sold them, and he was trying to get some more to sell at different shows, and they're like not responding at all to him, to giving him more. And then so he's basically writing me about his troubles, like what should I do type of email. And the other thing was his name isn't on the figure anywhere. It's just like a DC McFarlane figure. So like he didn't invent the character, I don't think. But they also have a version of the figure that's a line art version. And I think he was sort of suggesting, he's probably listening to this right now, so I'm trying to portray it accurately. But anyway, they're not giving him any credit putting his name on it anywhere, and he was trying to figure out if he should be upset or push back or not. And I took a picture of my Batman White Knight figures, front and back of the box, and like, hey man, I hear you. You're not wrong, but here's my Batman. Based on my book that I wrote, Andrew, my name isn't anywhere on any Batman White Knight action figure ever. It's just part of the deal. Like, it's the contract you signed with DC. It's the contract Todd signed with DC. It's who knows, but that's just the way it is. So I hope I was able to help him, because like I can understand why it feels like, am I getting ripped off here? But it's just the way of it, And
yours are literally based on your artwork, like art style.
Yeah.
Is that the same with this one, or is it more just a costume design that he designed on the generic sort of McFarlane body?
I believe it's the second one. Yeah, I don't think it's based on his art, but you could argue that if they're going to do a line art version and use his art, then I could see his point, but still. I remember when DC Direct, or maybe it was McFarlane, I don't know, they did a line of Capullo toys where it's like a subset of a regular line that they did, and every one had the Capullo this, Capullo that. So that's different, of course. I don't actually know if Greg got any extra money for that, but his name was definitely on the figure, and I haven't gotten to that level yet, so we'll see.
Yeah, I wish they would do more of that, because I always liked those figures, the ones that were based specifically off of people's artwork.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if maybe they don't do it more because you do have to pay more if you do that, but who knows? I don't know what the how that breaks down.
I'm not sure. I mean, when I do statue design for XM, they put my name on it to help promote it, and I think they do that with every artist. It's part of the feature, is these high-end, artistically accurate portrayals of Batman, for example.
Yeah.
So they definitely have Sean Murphy XM Studio Batmans or White Knight, I think, and they give me a check for that, and I think I signed a waiver, so it's not like they have to give me royalties on it. It's kind of a one-time payment. So yeah, I don't see why DC couldn't do it that way. But I don't know if these things really sell, honestly. But I don't know if they sell in mass volume.
Yeah, that's the thing. I as much as people like you or me would love to see figures that are specifically based on certain artists' artwork. I don't know if that really makes a difference to the general collector.
Yeah, like I would love a Hellboy animation that looks just like Mike's work, but I think the normie is going to watch that and be like, what's wrong with the faces?
Yeah, like if someone goes to Target and they see a Jim Lee style Superman next to a regular Superman, I don't know if they're going to go, oh, Jim Lee, and grab the Jim Lee. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, luckily Jim's style is pretty approachable. It's very in line with what people think Superman should look like anyway. Like, Jim's not trying to sell you a really unusual style anyway, maybe Mike Mignola or Frank Miller is.
Yeah, I love the one of my.
But I take your point.
A couple of my my favorite ones that I have are excuse me, from the Darwin Cook New Frontier line.
Yeah.
I have Superman and Batman from that line, and they're just so cool looking. And I think basing the figures off of actual art styles just makes for a more interesting figure that kind of stands out a bit more. It's probably, if I had to guess, a little bit pricier to develop because it's more difficult to mix and match parts if they're doing that for different figures.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's too bad. I like the artwork figures.
I really wanted a Zorro action figure, but there's nothing close to anything acceptable in my eyes anyway. Unless I bought, like, McFarlane did a Dread Pirate Roberts figure, so if you bought that, put a little hat on it, and squint your eyes, maybe. But there's a real lack of solid Zorro statues and figures and stuff.
Yeah, do you find that surprising?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't any pulp hero. Like, there's no Dick Tracy. There's no Phantom. You got these characters that have been around longer than Batman. So the interest comes and goes, and it's
Yeah.
not like there's a string of hit Zorro shows or anything lately, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But then again, like they had the Green Hornet movie come out, which bombed, and they still managed to get some decent, you know, die-cast cars of the hero car of that show and some of the other stuff. Like, it's crazy to me what actually gets made sometimes based on some of these properties flopping. You know,
Yeah.
You're telling me, you know, the 80 years Zorro's been around, there hasn't been one decent statue. Like, that's the part that gets me. You know.
Yeah. It's funny with that stuff too, because so much of it is speculative as far as what they make. So it's like, yeah, the companies end up having to decide what they think are going to be big sellers and what they, you know, where to put their chips and stuff. Yeah. And so it is always interesting to see. Oh, clearly they thought this was going to be the next big thing, but nobody really went for it.
The Princess Bride set, I'm surprised that was just worth making. Honestly, I don't know how many people are clamoring for Wesley and Buttercup figures. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think some of the older stuff is worth it because there never was a high quality toy from that line, and you know, all the people who are buying it are of the age where they wish they had those. You know?
Yeah.
Like what was it? Probably 10 years ago now. I can't remember how long ago it was when NECA did the Michael Keaton Batman figure. That's I was well into my 20s or possibly 30s when that came out, and that was a toy I'd been waiting to have since I was 5 years old, and so I did whatever I had to do to get it. And so like that's the thing though, is like those things I think are definitely aimed towards older nostalgic collectors.
100%.
It's the toy market is very strange because it seems like it's similar to comics in that most of this stuff is aimed at older collectors, and it's maybe not. I don't know, but
no, you're right. I mean, the price point would suggest that you're not buying a $20 figure for a kid to play with, to break, and take out of the box and smash his face. I mean, G.I. Joe was pretty cheap back in the 80s. It was like $3 a figure. The expensive Transformers, I mean, those were like $15 even in the 80s, but they had like metal parts and stuff like that, and that's why their Optimus Primes are rather rare. Yeah, they're definitely.
Well, I was gonna say, I'll tell you, man. You have no idea how much time I spent at the 3 for $10 bin at KB Toy Stores, which was just like bottom to top filled with Marvel Comics figures. Man, I spent a lot of money there.
With the bins was like a knock against you. Like, didn't people want to avoid the bins if you're a manufacturer?
I mean, if you're
that's
selling,
where Jar Jar ended up.
Yeah, if you're selling them for 3 for $10, they're probably not exactly the hottest figure going. But these ones, I remember these bins weren't like rejects. This was just like, I don't know if it was overrun or what, but it was a good selection of just straight up all. It was mostly, I remember it being mostly Marvel figures, and so like I got a bunch of that like original era X-Men and X-Men figures and stuff like that from that bin.
I have a Wildcats action figure of Warblade.
Oh, nice.
Still in the box.
Ooh.
I know. And I'm pretty sure it's not worth anything. I think it was a gift from a friend as a joke back in college. And I don't know why I still have it. And every time I dive deep into one closet, I find it again. I'm like, oh, man, should I open this thing? Should I just throw it out? I mean, what is this thing even worth? I don't think it's worth much at all. But it's just kind of I'm sort of playing a game of chicken with myself.
Have you missed the peak on the market for unopened Wildcats toys?
Oh, man. When the Simpsons figures came out a long time ago, my buddy bought a few of them, left them unopened, thinking that they might be worth something one day, and I'm not sure if they are.
I have, I think the only Wildcats toy, I had Maul, the big green guy from Wildcats.
That's cool.
I think that was the only one I had from Wildcats. That was
I wanted Grifter, but I couldn't. Grifter was probably hard to find.
I think I have Grifter. Yeah.
Oh, man. Do you want to trade for a sweet unopened Warblade?
Next time I go to my parents' house, I'll check the bin in the basement and see if Grifter's in. I think I have Grifter. The one thing that I do really want though, like of the nostalgic childhood toy, is I have the Batmobile from Batman Returns, but I guess there were two of them, and one of them was the one where if you pressed a button on top, the sides split off and it turned into like the little bullet car.
I remember that, yeah.
But I have the one that doesn't do that. I have the one that's just the straight up Batmobile.
Right.
And the thing that it did was the turbine in the front was like a spring-loaded missile. So if you pressed a button on the hood, it would shoot the turbine out. That turbine for mine has been missing for at this point 30 years probably. So I have
I'll bet that piece, just buying that piece alone, I bet it's like $50.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find it anyway. Every now and then I'll check eBay and see if something comes up, but nothing ever does. And that's like, I have this great. It's a really good Batmobile. Like it's the proportions.
I think you've shown it to me.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you've seen it. Yeah, the proportions are all really good.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't have that piece, and so I've been dying to try and find that piece somewhere.
Yeah, interesting. Well, if anyone listening has that and wants to trade Clay for a quick sketch or something, let them know.
Yeah. Do you get 10% for putting that deal together?
No, they'll just. My payment is watching the joy in your face.
Ah, yes. So you give us a 2 this episode. What would you draw?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe redesign the Kobra guys a little bit so they look less G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
What about you?
I kind of really like the sequence when Batman went crashing into a giant stack of credit cards.
Yeah.
And then got buried under credit cards for a couple minutes, and then when he came out, he was like really like dazed.
Yeah.
Having Batman smash into a giant pile of credit cards seems like fun.
So at first I thought I would not want to draw that because that's like drawing a bunch of money flying through the air.
Right, yeah.
Or bricks or something. And then I thought, well, wait, money has to bend and fold, and there's pictures of faces on money. And drawing flat credit cards might actually be a lot easier than drawing money.
Yeah.
You just have to draw the mag strip on the back and like a little doodle on the front or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Huh. Yeah, okay.
But
that's not so bad.
That's
answer.
also that plot element is really strange where it's like everybody uses credit cards, so if we poison the credit cards.
About that. I totally forgot about that. It's the fourth thing. It's like, what? We know so much more about viruses now. Like, I feel like virus movies are gonna take a break for a while after COVID. I know that the zombie movies is a phenomenon based on fear of viruses, and you can do a deep dive on that. But I don't know. I feel like that stuff's gonna be put on pause for a bit because we're all virused out.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Is there the Marvel show Secret Invasion? Is that a virus thing? I can't remember. It doesn't matter.
I haven't. Yeah.
But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they move away from viruses. And this one too, it's the weird thing where like they make. Oh, we just watched Mission Impossible 2 about a week ago, which I hadn't seen since it came out, and that's a virus movie. And the big play at the end that the bad guy makes is actually very similar to this, where he infects the girl, Tandy Newton, with the virus, and then is like, she's going to reach downtown L.A. and infect everybody in the entire city or whatever. And it's just a really strange sort of understanding of how this stuff works, because like Falseface actively contagious, or is he? Because if he's actively contagious, I hope they quarantine that whole area that he walks through at the end. It's just a strange. I understand the idea of like, oh, okay, well now they're turning him into a biological weapon, but it's not particularly interesting or engaging.
No, yeah. It was Mission Impossible 2, John Woo?
Yes.
Okay. That's the one I probably saw the most because I was in college and I like the motorcycle stuff.
Yeah, it's I'd say it's 70% real boring, and then there's a couple fun there's a great towards the end, like as things are getting going, there's a moment where Ethan Hunt comes in and like, a bunch of pigeons fly by. And we were all kind of like, oh, I guess he had to use pigeons because it doesn't make sense to have doves in this particular location. And then like 2 scenes later, he kicks open a door and out of absolutely nowhere, 2 doves come flying out as he pulls his guns out. I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Doesn't matter where they came from.
Yeah, you got to play the hits, man.
Yeah.
They want to hear Freebird.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was it was written by Brandon Braga and the other guy from TNG, who's Ron Moore.
Oh, I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. Before we move on to the next episode, which franchise do you prefer? James Bond, John Wick, Mission Impossible, Taken, or Jason Bourne?
That's tough. I'm honestly probably Mission Impossible. I feel like I watch the Bond movies more. Like there's what, 25 Bond movies? I think I've probably seen like 11 of them. I have not seen all the Bond movies. So I can't count myself as like a diehard Bond fan. I've definitely seen all the Mission Impossible movies, but it's only been the last couple that I've really been like, okay, these are now movies I look forward to. John Wick, I like, but I always expect to not be interested in until I see the movie, and then I go, all right, that was pretty good. I think I've seen one, maybe two Bourne movies, and I don't know if there's anybody who likes more than one Taken movie.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Well,
yeah, I'm not a Bond fan like I thought I would be.
Yeah.
I was rewatching the Timothy Dalton stuff the other day, and I don't know, man. Even the Daniel Craig stuff, like I don't ever rewatch any of it. I don't know. And Mission Impossible is not my jam. I like John Wick, but you have to go with it, you know?
Yeah.
And the first Jason Bourne movie is like one of my favorite top 5 action movies ever.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But I never liked any of the Bourne movies after that one.
Not even the one where they tried to pass it off to, what's his name, Jeremy Renner?
Jeremy Renner?
It's funny because they did that in Mission Impossible as well. They were supposed to pass off Mission Impossible to Jeremy Renner in the 4th one, I think, and then everyone was like, no, this is really stupid. Tom Cruise is the whole reason people see these movies.
Yeah, honestly, Jeremy Renner doesn't have the presence that Tom Cruise does or Matt Damon does.
Yeah, it's a weird choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bond is funny because, like, I feel like there's enough of them where you can consider yourself a solid James Bond fan by picking and choosing them. Like I love Casino Royale. The rest of the Craig ones are fine at best. They didn't blow me away. I love GoldenEye. The rest of the Brosnan ones are fine at best.
Yeah.
I honestly haven't watched the Dalton ones in a really long time. I remembered liking them at the time, but even then they were kind of.
Yeah.
But the weird thing about the Dalton ones are, is, by trying to make them more updated, it actually makes them feel older, if that makes sense. Because like the Connery stuff and even the Roger Moore stuff is so weirdly stylized that it sort of plays, even though they're 50 years old at this point. But I remember even when I watched the Dalton ones when I was younger, they felt like they were they felt old as far as action movies go, if that makes sense. But I know that they are generally regarded as two of the better ones.
The Dalton ones?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I thought they were generally not liked by people. People sort of skip over Dalton. He was the angry Bond. He was too much of a Cold War soldier. And he never got to do his third one. I like Timothy Dalton being the angry Bond. I think it's pretty good. Some of the stuff in the plot needs to be cleaned up. I mean, it's late 80s, so it's not perfect. The first one I like better just because I like the car better. But, yeah, they even get into it goes all over the place where he ends up fighting with the Mujahideen, or however you pronounce it, which was the rebels that gave birth to Al Qaeda.
Yeah,
so,
made the same mistake Rambo 3 did. Really backed the wrong horse on that one.
Yeah, I mean back then they were fighting Russia, so it was like a proxy war. We could root for the guys on horses. They were like noble horsemen, and then the villain in Timothy Dalton one is the same guy who played the terrorist in True Lies. The guy who jumped off the building in a motorcycle.
Oh,
Remember
really?
that scene? Yeah, same guy, same actor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's a long movie, man. I don't know if I go with like a 7 out of 10 maybe.
Well, the guy who's one of the reasons that I never go back to
Thanks for joining us on our Batman podcast, by the way.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I mean, this episode was just not that interesting. One of the reasons I never go back to, I guess it's License to Kill, is that the bad guy is Robert Davi, and I just don't consider him like a Bond level villain.
Yeah,
he's just kind of like he's like a guy from New Jersey, kind of mobster type guy, and he just doesn't feel like he's Bond material. But I guess they were going for a different vibe, and et cetera, et cetera.
Right, and the henchman being played by Benicio del Toro.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of his first movies, I think, right?
Yeah. Yep. It starts off with a wedding scene where Bond arrives as the best man. I don't know. It tries to be funny, but I don't know if Timothy Dalton's good at humor. Honestly, I don't think he got the note from anybody that he's supposed to be a little bit funny.
Yeah. He plays it pretty straight, if I remember correctly. Yeah. There's probably have there been as many Bonds as there have been Batmans at this point, or vice versa?
Oh man, no, there's got to be.
Because you got.
I never thought to count.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, thanks for sticking with us.
I don't think so.
We've got. If you want to go back to the '60s, we've got Adam West, Michael Keaton.
Oh, I thought you meant.
Oh no, not movies.
Themselves.
I mean actors.
Oh, I see.
Adam West, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck. Who's the most recent one? Pattinson. That's 7.
Pattinson.
And so you've got...
and there's about to be 8 because James Gunn's going to do one that's going to have Robin in it.
Right. So currently that's 7 Batmans, and we've got...
That's more.
Sean Connery, Roger Moore.
That guy in the middle.
George Lazenby. Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig. So we're one short.
Yep.
So more Batmans than Bonds. This is
right.
content worth paying for. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for the plague.
Usually I'm the one that makes these longer.
We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about
April Moon.
I figured you'd try this. That's why I followed you from the hotel. I didn't believe for a second you'd really run from them like that. It was just a trick so you could tail them and find April.
Looks like it's working so far, doesn't it? You gonna tell me the secret word?
So you figured it out.
Okay, April Moon. Story by Stan Berkowitz and James Tucker. Teleplay by Stan Berkowitz. Directed by Butch Lukic. Man, he was busy on these. He did a lot of these. In this one, a bionics designer is forced to give a gang of street punks robotic implants after they kidnap his wife. To stop them, Batman needs a special verbal kill phrase to shut down their implants, but can he convince the designer to give it to him? I'm going to jump right to the end and say what I want to draw is chainsaw knee guy. Chainsaw knees.
Yeah.
You go in.
What was that?
You go in and you say, hey, I want cybernetic implants. What do you got? Well, we can do literally anything. What would you like? And he said, I'm glad you asked. I would like chainsaws to come out of my hands. All right, that makes perfect sense.
You're not doing the brand manager, Clay.
This is above the brand manager's pay grade, I think.
I'm not doing that. We're not turning your knees into. That doesn't make any sense.
I'd like chainsaws to come out of my hands. All right, that makes perfect sense. And I'd also like chainsaws to come out of my knees. All right, bit of a curveball, but I think we can do it. Why the knees?
I don't know. It's terrible. I like the design of the chainsaws.
It's so fucking
weird. They
designed
very carefully, how they actually work. They're just giving great thought to the engineering of them.
All of these
guys,
guys,
throw them on the knees.
Like the transforming aspect, and all these guys seems like pretty well considered, but all of their robotic forms are just kind of silly.
Yeah. The guy who has the whip is cool. Makes sense. The guy who turns into the metal thing, that works fine. Or I guess Iron Man. But yeah, chainsaw knee guy is weird. The other guy turns into just giant cylinder mallets form over his hands.
Yes.
So I guess it gives him better punching power.
Yeah,
but he can't grab or pick anything up. I'm not sure there's really much of a gain there.
Well, if he wanted to pick stuff up, he would have giant robot really dexterous fingers. He's there to smash shit.
Right. Yeah. I don't need to pick anything up.
No, just destroy.
They felt like a stoplight gang, like what you created for White Knight with their colors.
In retrospect,
their
I wish
jerseys.
I had known about these guys. I 100% would have used these guys in Red Hood.
Panel 1, close up of a kneecap.
Hell yes.
Panel 2, close up of a chainsaw kneecap.
Absolutely.
The end.
Absolutely. And for some reason, they all would have been wearing Red Hood helmets to explain why he got his helmet.
Well, why are they wearing bowling shirts? And why? What's with the music in this episode?
Yeah, It's like a sweet jazz soundtrack, which was very.
Yeah. It sounds like a song they never got to use for the original animated series. And I liked that it wasn't all electronic again. And I thought, well, this whole point of this is there's a secret code to turn these guys off based on a song called April Moon. Why aren't they playing the song April Moon? Like, why isn't the jazz the song that he sings?
Right. Yeah. I thought maybe, and this was just me, my brain trying to rationalize what I was seeing and hearing. I didn't know if maybe, given that this was like a future show, sci-fi with some bionic stuff, and the jazz music, I didn't know if they were making like a weird reference to like Cowboy Bebop or something. Because
it felt like it was,
that has like a jazz soundtrack, right?
Oh, 100%. And this would be like maybe 3 years after Cowboy came out.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they were nodding to that in some strange way.
They've got.
Is there anybody with chainsaw knees and Cowboy Bebop?
No, there isn't.
Well, I guess I'm never watching it then.
Well, there's Chainsaw Man now, but that's like a chainsaw on his face. But it's so odd, but they lean into it. Like that's sort of the point of the whole book.
Sure.
Chainsaw Man, chainsaw knees. Yeah, I don't know, man. This one, I thought maybe I missed something. Like I went back and we watched the scene where Batman figures out the really difficult, hard to figure out code, April Moon, to turn these guys off.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, it's our favorite song. Uncomfortable stare. Okay, I guess you're not going to tell me the password then. See you later, buddy.
Yeah. That was one of the more obvious ones of those that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Come on, detective.
Yeah. What did you think of it overall?
I don't know, man. Maybe a high 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I gotta
just for the
I
knees.
Need something more.
4 for the
just
knees.
For the knees. Yeah, I like the idea of the gang is cool. The doctor was sort of taking it. The twist of this girl doesn't even like him. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that was good.
There's a lot of fun things happening here, and I did enjoy the music, even though it frustrated me that it wasn't connected to jazz or April Moon in any way.
Yeah. I liked it more than the last one, simply because there was like an actual story that they were telling, and it wasn't just a chase 'em MacGuffin machine. And the ending was delightfully dark.
Yeah, that was good.
But yeah, I would say as I was watching it, I was like, yeah, this might be a 4. And I afterwards I was like, is this a 4 because it's good, or is it a 4 because it actually has a narrative thread that is telling a story? I honestly can't decide.
We need a win. Maybe it just feels like a 4. But again, it's a beyond 4.
Yeah, my favorite part, which I feel like is kind of summing up this entire season for me, is at the end when Terry's talking to Bruce, and Bruce is like, "What happened to everybody? Where'd everybody else go?" And Terry goes, the bullwhip guy ran off, and the doctor kind of disappeared. I thought about going after them. Honestly, my heart wasn't really in it. Imagine Batman saying that to literally anybody. Like, I could have stopped the Joker, but I didn't feel like it today.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, just Mondays.
Am I right?
Green Lantern, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was.
Who was the most lazy on the Justice League?
The most lazy on the Justice League?
Yeah. Who's more likely to be on Batman's side during that scene?
I feel like maybe Green Lantern. Maybe the Flash.
I thought they reserved Flash. Okay.
Because like the Flash, I can see being lazy in the fact that it's like I have so much time to get this done. There's no reason for me to rush it.
Oh,
ironically,
right. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, Blue Beetle. I don't know. I don't know anything about Blue Beetle, but
Nope.
Yeah, it's a strange. This season overall has been weird. It's been very middling.
Yeah.
To the point that we watch one that has like the bare bones of a story, and we're like, "This is the best episode we've seen in months."
I know. Yeah, even the frequency of getting these out, I just feel like our heart isn't as into it as it was with the original series.
Yeah. It's this. We've been doing season 2 for a bit.
We'll get through it, man.
Yeah,
I think that's why there's so much filler in these episodes, is we just need something to talk about.
Yeah, season 3 is only 13 episodes.
Jesus.
And and 2 sections of them are part 1 and part 2s. So that implies that there might be some actual story to be told. And I was thinking since we usually do 2 episodes per episode of our show, and there's an odd number of episodes, that we might do the final episode of this and that Justice League episode that's like the tie-up episode.
Yep. Epilogue.
Yeah,
that's what it's called.
I was thinking we'd do that
for sure.
to round it out. The other thing, so the one thing I did really like about this episode, I thought the fight animation was great. Anytime that he fought the robot guys, I thought it looked really, really good.
But, I think both episodes, the animation was really great, actually.
Yeah.
Even the Hunter one, I thought he looked fantastic. But yeah, I agree.
And my favorite. Sorry, go ahead.
The knees can't have been easy to draw. I mean, how do you draw a character running with knees coming out at a oblique angle like that? And you must be like, what am I doing with my life?
It's such. What's the? I mean, I guess you're just thinking like, what's a unique way someone could attack? Like, does he only do like Muay Thai moves or something? Because he's just. I feel like every time he goes at Batman, he does like a flying knee strike type thing, which I mean makes sense when you've got chainsaws for knees.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they could have had a line in there and be like, really? Your knees too? And he's like, yeah, man, I can't just have my hands. I need to have my knees.
But what about your feet? No.
Yeah, there could have been a comedic beat to the gang if they were like, really, dude, your knees as well.
Everybody would expect chainsaw feet. I actually, I think my favorite part of the episode was when he starts doing the kill code. And they all start falling apart. I thought that was really cool. That was kind of like, I want to see more weird stuff like that, because Chainsaw Knee Guy just like falls to pieces, like his legs fall off, and he ends up like this weird torso.
He's Alex Murphy'd in that scene.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. But yeah, that was it was fine.
Yeah. Well, what would you draw? Chainsaw Knees?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Chainsaw Knees. Chainsaw Knees / the part where they all fall apart. I really like that scene. That would be a lot of fun to do. What about you?
Yeah, I would love to do a team shot of these guys. I think it would be fun. But as far as sequence goes,
you gotta find an interesting angle to draw Chainsaw Knees at, because you can't draw him head on, because otherwise he's got to be like standing at the side or something.
You gotta have him draw, like, I draw Batman a lot with one knee up, 1 foot on a building. It helps him fit into covers better. You want to try to get full bodies in covers because people like that more, and it's more sellable. So I always do Batman in my books a lot. There'll be a lot of characters with one knee up, so they're getting more of their body into the frame, even if it's a panel. So yeah, I'll probably do that with Chainsaw Knee, because you're at a good side angle to really, really appreciate that knee, the chainsaw coming out of it.
Yeah, I am honestly myself disappointed that we didn't see this earlier, so you could have put these guys into Batman Beyond. These guys could have been Derek Powers' minions.
I think if you ever do more, you can turn your Stoplight Gang, as they're recovering and trying to figure out what their new thing should be.
Absolutely.
They become...
Absolutely.
Like, the guy who doesn't have chainsaw knees yet is walking around. He's trying to think about what he wants to do. And he sees something on the street or in the subway. And he's like, wait a minute. I'm trying to think about what that would be that would spark that creative gene. Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know what goes into a person's mind that brings them to the conclusion that they want chainsaw knees. All of these guys feel like they did this on a drunken dare or something. Like the bullwhip guy was like, come on, guys. It would be hilarious.
The guy who turns into Iron Man, that one makes the most sense.
Yeah.
For sure. And I even like the design of the suit. Actually, I think I'd draw him. That would be my answer.
Yeah. Yeah, he was pretty good.
I've never gotten to draw like a stocky thing or the Hulk type figure before.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, not really, huh? I guess.
Yeah.
Clayface a little bit, but he doesn't really do much in the White Knight book.
Yeah. Clayface is fun to draw with tiny little legs and a tiny little butt, and the rest of him is just like a giant pyramid stacked on top of it.
Which, if he can control his body that well, you'd think he would be a little bit filled out a little bit more evenly. But
I know, man. I think whoever designed him was just like, I don't want to draw another villain. I'm just gonna draw a goofy guy that I can get through these panels quickly.
That's the way to do it.
And now those pages are worth a fortune, I bet.
Are there any? There are no gigantic Mexican god creatures or something you could draw into Zorro?
Nope. I feel like that would be insulting.
Yeah, probably.
I hate to be the politically correct one here. I know that's normally not my thing. No, man, it was fun doing a book where everyone in it is Mexican. Like, I don't think there's any white guys. Actually, there's one white guy. Mm-hmm. But it's cool to do a cultural book like that.
Yeah. Do you, where have you been going for your reference for buildings and stuff like that? The more Mexican styling.
Yeah, Western. So I'd find Mexican villages, Mexican chapels. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the name of the town. There's a great fort there, and I found some really great shots of this one fort. I think it's in the Bahamas or something. It's in the Caribbean somewhere, so it's Mexican adjacent. But, obviously the Spanish conquered that whole area, so it still tracks. There's a Don Quixote element in my book, too, because the main character is kind of out of his mind. So I put a windmill in there, too, just as a kind of a hint.
A windmill with a giant stocky torso and tiny little chicken legs?
No, as far as that shape goes. Well, it's funny that one of the bad guys, the lead henchman, his name is Trejo. Mm-hmm. And, of course, he looks just like Danny Trejo. Mm-hmm. That's probably the closest to Clayface you're going to get.
You did give Trejo about 1.5 feet on actual Danny Trejo.
I know. I saw Danny Trejo in D.C. In person. He was walking behind the curtain to the green room as I was getting in there. And I had no idea how short he was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He looks like he has got a bad back, too. I know he's getting up there.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who is older than you think he is, because he was older when he first started showing up and stuff, I think.
Yeah, I remember him being like, he had a good face. He was in shape. He had awesome tattoos. So when he was in Desperado and Con Air, he was always someone I look forward to seeing. Of course, he always played a bad guy.
Mm-hmm. Can't forget.
But I don't know.
Can't forget the classic role he played in Heat as the character Trejo.
That's right. Wait, he was called Trejo in Heat
as
well? He
was, yes.
Shit, so I have him in Zorro now, too.
Hey, it's the same guy. You just say it's the same guy.
Gets around. Yeah. I am putting Thomas McHale from Punk Rock Jesus as a cameo in Zorro, too, or a character that looks a lot like him, shall we say.
Is that the one white guy in the book?
Yeah, him and the DEA guy.
Oh, right.
DEA guy. Well, DEA guy can be brown too. He could be Mexican.
Sure, could be.
Maybe I'll keep Mexican too. DEA. Yeah. But I'm talking to Jimmy Palmiotti. In Boston. He's coming up. He's looking at the stuff I prepared for Zorro, and he's like, I'm telling you, man, you need a cover with a girl with big tits. Like, what are you doing? Like, can't you draw something? Like, just get someone to draw a variant cover of Zorro, but a female Zorro with big boobs and blah, 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 blah. And, like, that's very much Jimmy's thing. And everything he does is with his wife, Amanda Connor. Mm-hmm. So I feel like Jimmy is able to get a pass by doing that because he's sex positive. His wife's sex positive. So doing TNA covers kind of fits their brand.
Sure.
No one ever really comes. I feel like if I did that, people would come after me. Especially on Zorro, where it doesn't belong at all.
Yeah, that's a tough one to square and be like, no, you don't understand. Jimmy told me to do it. He said it was fine.
They're like, Jimmy who? I turn around and Jimmy's gone.
Yeah.
Damn it, Jimmy.
Halfway down the block already.
They're like, Jimmy's not even real, is he? He's just your excuse.
There's just a Looney Tunes like dust cloud where he used to be.
I asked Adam Hughes if he could do a cover, and I'm waiting to hear back. And I think I'm actually able to do Lady Rawhide. So if I could do a variant that was a nod to the old Lady Rawhide covers that Adam did in the 90s, that would be a way to justify it.
Yeah, that's cool.
But the question is Adam interested in revisiting that stuff, or is he happy to leave it behind? So who knows?
Okay, Adam.
But
just hear me out here. It's Lady Rawhide,
Hey.
but it's an entirely black uniform, so it's a lot easier to draw.
And she's got no tits. Also, it's a man. He's like, wait a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, that book should be book should be really good. I've seen the pages you've been doing; they're coming out really nice.
Oh, thanks. The only female character is the sister, who's a driver, who happens to be gay, and she's not a TNA character at all. I feel like it would be destroying what that character's supposed to be about. She's my Montoya.
I don't think you need to have a big boobed lady in your Zorro book for the sake of having one.
Yeah, Jimmy. If Jimmy's watching, if you're listening, whatever, take your big boobs elsewhere.
So yeah, where are we ending on this? Is it 4, 3, 4? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm at a week 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm a week 4 as well, because I feel like I'm being duped here a little bit by this one, but honestly, it was interesting enough, and Chainsaw Knees is at least a point grade up for me. So I'll go with
without
4.
Chainsaw Knee, this would be very forgettable.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like that design element really makes it stand out.
Yeah, even if it specifically him, like even if it was the other guys still, and not Chainsaw Knees, it would still be pretty forgettable. Why
wasn't Chainsaw Knee the leader of the gang? Like Bullwhip was in charge. Why not? I can't even say his name now. Chainsaw Knees. Because when she tried to lean in to kiss him, he would cut her off at the thighs.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, and I was kind of disappointed because there's the scene at the beginning where the Bullwhip guy is like, I'm going to have a cool new name. You should call me Bullwhip. I was hoping they were all going to go around and come up with new names. Because what does Chainsaw Knee go with? Does he call himself Knee Saw? Chainsaw?
You should say, call me Chainsaw Knee. And this is where the joke begins. They're like, really, dude? He's like, yeah, what? He's like, we thought you were just going to get your hands done. What the fuck is the point of doing your knees? He's like, I don't know. But there's 2 extra. I saw you had 4, so I wanted to use all of them.
Yeah. What do you think he runs on? Is it electric? Do you think he runs on gas?
I don't know, man. Yeah. These guys actually cut their limbs off to replace them with cybernetics.
I guess.
Because when the dude falls apart at the end, like Alex Murphy, that's pretty gruesome for a kid's show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know what this doctor was doing before I guess he was just doing regular, what's the word, prosthetic surgeries?
Yeah.
And
because
then
Bruce Wayne used his servos.
Right. And then these guys
suits.
just roll up and they're like, hey, can you do something a little bit more interesting? And he pulls out a bunch of sketches and he's like, actually, who has the worst knees?
I need some kind of a military veteran who's got some major trauma where just his knees are damaged, but his calves are fine, his feet are fine, his thighs are great, but his knees are shot to shit.
Someone who really likes pruning bushes but hates bending over to do it.
I know. Oh, man.
Anyway.
Chainsaw Knees should not have children. Talk about like a child risk thing. Like you think about kids bumping into like coffee tables and things like that.
Yes. Having a father who's made up a quarter of his body as active chainsaws would not be great for a child.
I mean, the rest of them could have kids. The Chainsaw Knee, that's a risk right there. He's
you know
not
what?
a babysitter.
I don't even think he considered that before he went in for this surgery. All these other guys in this gang are gonna be playing with their kids, and Chainsaw Knee is just gonna be there by himself.
There's a cutscene at the end. Chainsaw Knee comes home, and they're like, his wife's there. He's like, we found him. And he's like, who? We found your son. And he's like, Daddy. And he runs towards him. And he's like, no. And the kid just like,
he kneels down. He kneels down to hug his son, and the son runs right into the chainsaw blade.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, now I think we know how we're introducing this character in the future White Knight books. Chainsaw Knee going to be the most feared villain in the Batman universe because of this horrible, horrific backstory we've given him.
Chainsaw knee, one bad day.
I'm here for it. Let's do it. Okay, I think that's going to do it for these 2 episodes.
That's good.
We'll be back next time with Sentries of the Last Cosmos and Payback. We've only got 2 more episodes of our show before the end of the season, so hopefully it will round out a little bit better than this last middle has been. But check out, if you're in San Diego, stop by Sean's booth, get some stuff signed. And
thank you.
Issue 3 of White Knight Presents Generation Joker should be on the stands right now, so pick that up. We'd be both much obliged. And thank you, Sean.
Thank you, sir.
And we will see you next time.